Chapter 1. The Ship Comes Home. On the 24th of February, 1815, the ship Pharaoh came into Marseille. A man on the shore jumped into a boat and went out to the ship. A young man, about 20 years old, looked over the side of the ship. He seemed to be the captain. He was the type of man who meets danger without fear. "Oh, is it you, Dantes?" cried the man in the boat. "What has happened?" "A very sad thing, Mr. Morel," replied the young man. "When our ship was near Civitavecchia, we lost our brave Captain Leclerc." He turned to his men and gave a quick order. Then he turned again to Morel. The Pharaoh was Morel's ship, and Edmond Dantes was first officer. "We will all die one day, Edmond," said Morel. "The goods?" "They are safe, Mr. Morel. Now, come on board. Here is Danglars. He does all the buying and selling. I must look after my ship." Morel climbed quickly onto the ship and met Danglars. Danglars was about 25 years old. Nobody on the Pharaoh liked him. "Well, Mr. Morel," said Danglars, "you heard about the sad death of Captain Leclerc." "Yes, he was a brave and good man." "And a good seaman. He was old and wise. A good ship's captain for Morel and Son," replied Danglars. "A young man can be a good captain too," Morel said. "Look at our friend Edmond. He works well." "Yes," said Danglars. He looked at Dantes. He did not like him. "Yes, he is young, and he is very sure of himself. When the captain died, we had to take orders from him, and as a result we lost a day and a half at the island of Elba. We needed to come straight to Marseille." "He has to take the captain's place," said Morel. "He is the first officer. But it was wrong to stop at Elba." "Was the ship unsafe? Did you need to work on it?" "There was nothing wrong with the ship. We stopped at Elba and went on shore. It was a holiday, not work." "Dantes," the ship owner called. "Come here, please." "In a minute, Mr. Morel," answered Dantes. He gave an order to his men. When the ship was safely tied up, Dantes came towards Morel. "The ship is now ready," he said. "Can I help you, sir?" Danglars took a few steps back. "Why did you stop at the island of Elba?" asked Morel. "I don't know, Mr. Morel. It was Captain Leclerc's last order. He gave me a letter for Marshal Bertrand." Morel took Dantes' arm and pulled him close. "And how is Napoleon?" he said quietly. "He seemed very well." "You spoke to him?" "No. He spoke to me," said Dantes. "He asked, 'When did you leave Marseille? What goods are on board?' He was very interested. Perhaps he wanted to buy the ship." "I am only the first officer," I said. "The ship belongs to Morel and Son." "Ah," he said, "I know them. The Morels have owned ships for many years. But there was a Morel who was a soldier. He fought with me at Valence." "True," cried Morel happily. "That was Policar Morel, my uncle. He was a great soldier, a captain. Dantes, my uncle, will be very happy about Napoleon. It will bring fire into the old soldier's eyes." You were right to stop at Elba, Dantes. But don't tell people about the letter for Marshal Bertrand, and about Napoleon. You will get into trouble." "Why?" asked Dantes. "I don't know what was in the letter. Napoleon only asked me simple questions. Anyone can answer questions like those." "My dear Dantes," said the owner, "are you now free?" "Yes, Mr. Morel," Dantes replied. "Can you come and have dinner with me?" "Thank you, Mr. Morel, but I must visit my father first." "Visit your father, and then come to my house." "Thank you again, Mr. Morel, but there is another person that I must see." "True, Dantes, I forgot. Of course, the beautiful Mercedes. She came to see me 3 times. She wanted news about the Pharaoh." "She has promised to marry me," the young seaman said. "My dear Edmund," said the owner, "that is very good news. Now, hurry away to see your father." "Thank you, Mr. Morel. I have a question. Can I leave the ship for 14 days? "To get married?" Morel asked. "Yes, first, and then I want to go to Paris." "Yes, of course, Dantes. But come back again in 1 month. The Pharaoh can't sail without her captain." "Without her captain?" cried Dantes. His eyes were bright and he was very happy. "Are you really going to make me captain of the Pharaoh? Oh, Mr. Morel, I thank you for my father and for Mercedes." "Good, Edmund. Go to your father. Go and see Mercedes, and then come to see me." "Shall I take you to the shore with me?" Dantes asked. "No, thank you. I'll stay and do some work with Danglars." "Were you pleased with him on this journey?" "Do you mean, is Danglars a good friend?" "No, we aren't friends. We disagreed one day near the island of Monte Cristo, and he doesn't like me. But he works well. I can say nothing against him." The ship owner watched Dantes until he reached the shore. Danglars stood on the ship behind Morel. He also watched the young man as he went away. But he did not look kindly at Dantes. Chapter 2. Father and Son. Dantes turned into a narrow street and went into a small house. "My dear Edmund," cried his father, "my boy, my son, you are here in Marseille. Tell me all your news." "I have some sad news. The good Captain Leclerc is dead. But I am now captain of the Pharaoh. Just think, I am only 20 years old and the captain of a great ship. I will earn good money. I can buy you a new house." "What is the matter, father? Aren't you well?" "It is nothing," his father said. "You need food and a drink. Where will I find food and drink for you?" "There is nothing in the house," answered the old man. "But I don't need anything, because you are here." "When I left 3 months ago, I gave you plenty of money," Dantes said. "Yes, but I paid some money back to our friend Caderousse. He asked me for it." "But you gave Caderousse more than half of the money. Why did you do that? Here, father, take this and send for some food." Edmund put all his money on the table. "No, no," said the old man. I don't need all that money. But here comes Caderousse. He knows that you are home. He wants to welcome you." "Hello. You have returned, Edmund," Caderousse said. "Yes, neighbour," replied Dantès. He tried to hide his real feelings. "I am ready to help you in any way." "You are rich now," said Caderousse, looking hungrily at the money on the table. "Oh, that," said Dantès, "that is my father's money. But of course you are our neighbour. If you want money, we will lend it to you." "Thank you, but I don't need anything. I met my friend Danglars, so I heard that you were here. I wanted to see you." "Good Caderousse," said the old man. "He is a great friend to us." There was an ugly look on Caderousse's face. "Well, Morel is pleased with you," he said. "Are you hoping to be the next captain of the Pharaoh?" "Yes, I believe that I will be the next captain. But, dear father, I must leave you. Now I must visit another person in the town." "Go, my dear boy, and God protect your wife." "His wife?" said Caderousse. "She isn't his wife yet. Mercédès is a fine girl, and fine girls have plenty of young men. But you will be captain of the Pharaoh, so my opinion of women and of Mercédès is better than yours," Dantès said. "I know that she will always love me." Edmund left the house, and Caderousse joined Danglars. The seaman was waiting for him at the corner. "He isn't captain yet," said Danglars quietly. "We can stop him. Let's go. We will stop at La Réserve and drink a glass of wine there." "Right then," Caderousse said. "But you must pay for the drink." Chapter 3. Mercédès. Danglars and Caderousse sat at a table under a tree. In a house about 100 meters away, a young girl was at the window. Her hair was as black as night, and her eyes were as dark and wonderful as the shadow of a forest. "Mercédès!" a voice shouted happily outside the house. "Mercédès!" "Ah!" cried the girl, and she ran to the door and opened it. "Here, Edmund, here I am." Edmund took Mercédès in his arms. The golden sunshine of Marseille shone on them. They were together, the only two people in the world. Edmund and Mercédès walked past La Réserve. Caderousse and Danglars were still there. "Hey, Edmund!" cried Caderousse. He got up from his seat. "Are you too proud to speak to your friends?" "No, my dear man," Dantès replied. "I am not proud, but I am happy. I was thinking about Mercédès." "When is the wedding?" asked Danglars. "Soon. Tomorrow or the next day, here at La Réserve. We hope that you and Caderousse will be there." "Tomorrow or the next day. You are in a hurry, Captain," said Danglars. "I am not a captain yet, Danglars," said Dantès. "But yes, we are in a hurry, because I must go to Paris." "To Paris? Do you have business there?" "It is not my business. Captain Leclerc asked me to finish some work for him." Yes, I understand," said Danglars. And he added, speaking to himself, "To Paris. He is taking Marshal Bertrand's letter there. Ah, I have an idea. Dantes, my friend, you are not captain of the Pharaoh yet." He turned towards Edmund. "A good journey," he cried. "Thank you, my friend," said Edmund, and the two lovers continued on their happy path. "Boy," shouted Danglars, "bring me a pen and paper." "It is a strange thought," said Caderousse. "You can kill a man with a knife, but you can also kill him with that pen." "I will tell you what I am going to do," said Danglars. "Dantes has just returned from a journey. He stopped at the island of Elba. We are going to send a letter to an officer of the government. We will write that Dantes is working for Napoleon. He wants to bring Napoleon back as ruler of France." Danglars wrote, using his left hand. "A friend of the king has information for the king's officers. Edmond Dantes of the ship Pharaoh brought a letter from Elba to the followers of Napoleon in Paris. You will find the letter in his coat, or at his father's house, or in his room on the ship." He put the letter in an envelope and wrote a name on it, Villefort. "So, I have done it," Danglars said. "Yes, you have done it," said Caderousse. "But it is a dirty piece of work." He put out his hand to take the letter. The cooks at La Réserve prepared a wonderful meal for the wedding. Many of the men from the Pharaoh were there, and other friends of Dantes. "Shall we start?" asked the sweet, silvery voice of Mercédès. "We must go to the church." Everyone in the party stood up and began to form a line. Suddenly there was a loud noise. A man knocked on the door and shouted, "Open this door, in the name of the law!" An officer came in. There were 4 soldiers with him. "Where is Edmond Dantes?" "That is my name," said Edmund. "Why?" "I can't tell you. Someone will tell you the reason later." "Don't be afraid, my good friend," said Dantes. "They are making a mistake. That is all, I'm sure." Dantes went into the courtyard with the soldiers. "God go with you, my dearest," cried Mercédès. "And with you, sweet Mercédès. We shall soon meet again." Chapter 4. The Judge. Villefort, the judge, took a paper from one of the men. He said, "Bring in the prisoner." Dantes came into the room. "Who and what are you?" Villefort asked. "My name is Edmond Dantes," the young man replied. "I am an officer of the Pharaoh, one of Morel's ships." "Your age?" 20. "Where were you when the soldiers came?" "I was at my wedding." Dante's voice was full of tears. Earlier in the day he was so happy, and now... "It is sad that this man missed his wedding," thought Villefort. But he continued, "Do you work for Napoleon?" "I wanted to join one of his ships, but he lost power." "People think that you are a dangerous man. They say you want to bring Napoleon back to power." "Me? Dangerous? I am only 20. I don't know about things like power. I love my father, I love Morel, and most of all, I love Mercedes. That is all that I can tell you. Have you any enemies? Enemies? Said Dantes. Only important men have enemies. I am not important. True, you are only 20, Villefort said. But you will soon be captain of a ship. You are marrying a pretty girl. Does someone hate you because you are so lucky? Perhaps. I don't know. You know men better than I do. I received this letter. Do you know the writing? Dantes read it. A cloud of sadness passed over his face. No, I don't know the writing. But the writer of this letter is a real enemy. Now, said the judge, answer me. Are the words in this letter true? No, Dantes replied. I will tell you the facts. Captain Leclerc became ill soon after we left Naples. On the third day, he was very ill. He called to me and said, "Promise me something. It is very important." I promised. After my death, you will become captain. Go to Elba and ask for Marshal Bertrand. Give him this letter, and he will give you another letter. He will tell you where to take it. That is what Captain Leclerc said. And what did you do then? The judge asked. I agreed. Leclerc was dying. On a ship, the last request of an officer is an order. I reached Elba, and I went on shore alone. I gave the letter to Marshal Bertrand. He gave me a letter to take to a person in Paris. I came here, visited Mercedes, and prepared for my wedding. I am going to Paris tomorrow. Ah, said Villefort. Perhaps you were unwise, but you followed the last orders of your captain. Give me the letter that you brought from Elba. Promise to see me again if I call you. You can go back to your friends now. I am free, then? Said Dantes happily. Yes, but first give me the letter. You have it already. The soldiers took it with some other letters. They are on the table. Stop, said Villefort, as Dantes took his hat. Whose name and address are on the letter? Noirtier, Heron Road, Paris. Villefort's face went white, and he looked afraid. Noirtier, he said in a weak voice. Noirtier? Yes. Do you know him? No, replied Villefort. I am a true follower of the king. I don't know men who want to destroy him. Noirtier wants to destroy the king? Dantes began to feel afraid. I told you. I didn't read the letter. I don't know what it says. Yes, but you saw the name on the envelope. Of course I read the name. I had to give it to Noirtier. Did you show this letter to anyone? Asked Villefort. No, I didn't show it to anyone, I promise you. Dantes looked at Villefort's face and was afraid. Villefort read the letter. Then he covered his face with his hands. Oh, the judge thought, does he know what is in this letter? Does he know my real name? Does he know that Noirtier is my father? If he knows this, then I am in danger." He looked closely at Dantes. Then he said, "You cannot leave now. You must stay here for some time. I will try to make your stay as short as possible. The only thing against you is this letter." He took the letter from the table and went to the fire. "Look, I am burning it." "Oh," cried Dantes, "you are very kind." "Listen," said Villefort. "You know that I will help you. You will stay here until this evening. Don't answer any questions. Don't say a word about this letter. And don't say the name of Noirtier." "I promise." Villefort called out, and a soldier came into the room. "Follow this soldier," Villefort told Dantes. The door closed, and Villefort fell into a chair. "Oh, my father! If people hear about this letter, it will be the end for me. I must make sure that nobody knows about it."